And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show, and this is going to be episode 185. So I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I hope you guys had a great day as well, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. I do apologize for not having a show on Saturday because that is the day we have a panel show for the MSK shows, because I legitimately went to work at 7 to be told to clock in at 9, to be told, hey, you're clocking in at 10:30 and staying until 7. So by the time I got off work, I was just too dead to do a show. Literally, I think I've had a Saturday show in a row for weeks for like the last 2 years straight. So I lost my streak. You know, but it's okay. It's okay. We've not missed a Monday show like in a long time, actually, ever, honestly, you know, so don't worry. I'm going to keep my winning streak ways. Always happening. I'm a trophy winner, top G, Rizmaster for a reason. But hope you guys are doing well out there. Make sure you guys are staying safe, because I seen some videos out there. I saw some Asian dudes butt naked fighting a black guy about as big as Tyrone Magnus on YouTube. I'm not kidding. He punched him, not even hard, just tapped him. Dudes just got knocked out clean. But don't worry. Tonight we have a guest. So I had him on Iron Man podcast episode a long time ago when I was still doing that show on Rumble. Poperoni is back. He might be on Mondays. I don't know. We'll give him a trial period to see if he can be a series regular for a little bit. The contracts here are pretty loose and fast, you know? Sometimes you're here, sometimes you're not here. We'll see how it goes.
Sometimes you just stop getting the link.
Yeah. Wow. Mysteriously, I just forget. You know, sometimes I'm just old. I have dementia in my brain, sometimes with links. I may have sent it to you. So, yeah, our featured guest tonight is Poperoni. What's going on, man? Been a long time. How you doing, brother?
Indeed. Good. Haven't been making as many like videos and stuff, but that's because like I basically do the same thing I do for work that I do like on YouTube, just like source information for content for like articles, because I'm just an assistant editor. So that's essentially all I do is read the news all the time. And then outside of that, I'm working out and running at the track and shit. Not much else.
Hell yeah,
My
man.
life is very simple.
Do you not get like, well, what's the word they call it now? Burnt out from reading the news constantly? Because I imagine you have to read like leftist news too to make sure it's all balanced and everything, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's you pour through the corporate press a lot of times, and what you eventually end up realizing is, so you'll go to places like the Associated Press, and then you'll realize like, okay, where is it you're getting your information? They're like, well, we got this from this information analyst from the CIA. And then you go to like a set of other articles. You're like, all right, I'm going to check out what's going on with CNN, ABC, CBS. And then you check out where their information comes from, and it's actually sourced from the AP. So all of these different articles that you see run from like all these different massive outlets, it's all just circulating the same information sourced from one outlet, which is the intel briefers from the intelligence community. And as we know, they are absolutely the most trustworthy people on planet Earth. So thankfully, we know we're always getting the truth from these absolute fucking clowns.
So also ask you, does that apply to like, let's say, pop culture news, where, you know, people get their main source of information from like Deadline, Variety, Hollywood Reporter? Does that apply to them too? They get the same talking points from someone above them, and they just start circulating them essentially?
Yeah, that's what spearheaded the Gamergate controversy, actually, like with this whole thing of like what's coming out with like USAID funding and the announcements of like, all right, we're going to be announcing, we're effectively going to be cutting the funding for this program in Chile for $75,000 for this transgender opera. We're going to be stopping $34,000 to Guatemala for this BIPOC racial training in journalists. We're going to stop $10 million to Pakistan for gender studies for women. We're going to stop another, I think it was like $1.4 million to, I forget what country it was in the Middle East, so that they could go ahead and push gender diversity based language training in the country, where they were specifically trying to make sure that we're going to have inclusive language in our journalism, although it's basically a country with Saudi Arabia's laws. So it's like, yeah, we clearly respect women and all that. But we need gender inclusive language. So it came out with that information that like even Gamergate and like all these outlets are just pumping out the same information all the time. It's hilarious.
You know what's crazy? It's like women here will spout nonsense about inequalities and whatever. And I just always have to tell them, if you believe this is true, go live in Saudi Arabia. Pretty sure they really respect women over there. Sorry, he had a mean opinion means he doesn't respect women. No, they'll kill you if you get out of line over there. That's how it works. Death. Like actually, like they'll hang you. It's not that's easy. Like literally in esports, I don't know if you remember the story. It was very big. Basically, there was a woman in esports like some years ago. It was a big story where she tweeted something against Saudi Arabia, and she was here on a work visa, and they managed to get her back to throw her in jail for talking bad against their country as a woman. And I'm pretty sure she's still in jail. But then you have all these esport organizations, even the ones that I like. I got to call them out today. They announced that they're part of this esports World Cup where Saudi Arabia is basically funding a lot of money into them for their esports World Cup thing they're doing. I thought these organizations are pride and respecting women and all that stuff. Oh my God, bullshit and virtue signaling. God damn, crazy world we live in, don't we? Where companies lie to people and they believe it, but then their actions say a completely different thing. Who'd have thunk it?
They only have, those types of standards only apply to Western civilization.
Yeah, right. Yeah, fuck me.
When it comes to everything from climate change to women's rights, all that shit's out the window, and they go, over to the old sand desert and everywhere else in the East.
Time to take you out behind the
camera. Oh, no. Then we have to appreciate it as cultural enrichment.
Yeah, cultural enrichment by making gay people in Iran transition if they get caught as being gay, and if they don't, then they have to off themselves voluntarily. It's like, yeah, that's absolutely something that we appreciate because, we value human life and progressivism in the West, apparently. And that's why we support, progressivism in countries.
Yeah, turn yourself up a little bit.
Well, they sound like they're on top of the game. We ought to bring 100 million of them over here into Europe, because why not?
Yep.
Yeah, Europe, the giant continent that apparently respects women and doesn't believe in hate speech and will jail you for tweets, apparently have these certain religion gangs that I can't say on YouTube, graping their women, but they just want to cover it up. Yeah, fuck you. I respect women, yet these type of group grape women constantly. But they didn't do it. There's no way to prove it. Oh God! But they jailed someone who dared to even speak up about it.
Yeah, not only that, they arrested the father.
Well, you can't prove it if you make it illegal to try to prove it.
True. See, that's the real thing. There you go. Can't prove it's real if you're in jail. Well, Bob,
did you guys happen to see Colin McGregor's speech at the White House today?
I didn't.
I didn't see the speech. I saw that he was there.
That was great. It was just like, Ireland's going to shit. And I was like, fuck yeah, it is. You tell him, Colin.
Oh God. Well, Bob, how you doing this week? See any movies you like that didn't fry your brain?
Nah, I can't complain. It was a busy weekend, but good weekend. Last week, towards the end of the week, I got to see Novocaine. I thought that was fun.
Awesome.
It's not the greatest movie in the world, but I thought it was dumb fun, which I enjoyed it. So, and then I'm still debating whether I'm going to go see Snow White and review it, but so. The thing is I got a free movie ticket, so if I go, I'm going to use the free one to go.
Dude, I've seen every live-action Snow White and I haven't watched an animated classic in forever. It's been a long time, but I know I've seen the live-action. I've seen the ones with Kristen Stewart. I saw Mirror Mirror, and I saw the sequel to her movie as well. Man, it would feel kind of weird if I didn't go see it because I've seen all of them, but I just can't bring myself to go and watch that. I've seen Rachel Zegler act in Shazam 2. I've seen her act in fucking Steven Spielberg's musicals, the West Side Story movie. She's just not a good actress. She's not entertaining. She's not really charming as much. I just can't bring myself to do it. The next movie I'll probably potentially go see is there anything coming out in April we should probably be looking out for or not?
I mean, there's a few stuff coming out, but early on, I'm gonna probably spend it probably catching up on the Chosen. They're gonna be releasing that to the theaters. That's the show that's based on the life of Jesus. And when I first started this channel, my very first review was on that show, and that audience has stuck with me since the beginning. So I like to every now and then do some faith-based stuff and still do stuff for that audience. And I happen to really like that show. I think it's actually very well written and very well acted. So since it's getting a theatrical release, it's actually getting 3 weeks of a theatrical release. First here at the end of March, and then the first couple of weeks of April. So I'm going to go check that out because they're releasing a series of episodes at a time into theaters. Nice. So I'm going to go check that out.
Hell yeah. Iron, what happened with you? Are you alive and not dead?
Oh, yeah.
Potentially?
I'm about as not dead as I can be. It was kind of a long, crazy weekend. Spent a lot of it right in front of this damn screen. But
will you have to work overtime?
No. I'm talking about from just the amount of stream. I had a heavy stream schedule after Friday. Had my show, then I had a bunch of early morning shows, just leading into a long weekend. So,
oh god, I know the feeling. Yep.
Yeah.
You're just,
So by Sunday, when you're like, I'm not feeling it tonight, I was like, that's cool. Me neither.
it was because I didn't want to do it. After I got off the show with Chaz, my ears were hurting for some reason, and I was like, I just can't put on my headset anymore. I was like, I can't wear this right now. It'll actually drive me insane. So I was like, you know what? We'll just do it next week, because Sunday we're taking a week off the show because spring season is very long and league will fist you. So any days off I can take in the middle of the season, I'm taking them off. I'm good, But his channel's monetized, and I would be able to apply for monetization, but there's a certain thing on my channel where I have to let it go, have to let it basically come off at the end of April after the F&T meetup to apply for monetization. Warning. I did. So one of the times
copyright or
so when I had Anna on, when we reviewed the Joker
content
graphic novel by Brian Azzarello, one of the takes I set the N word and the F word, and I didn't delete it because you should delete it right afterwards. I didn't delete it because Chaz told me I thought he was fucking with me, and then I got a.
Why don't you try not saying it on stream, darling?
yeah, that's a problem, But the warning is over on April 30th, so
okay.
I'll just apply for monetization after that, because it'll be like nothing will be on the record. Back in the day when I first got my very first warning, they didn't take them away. On my first channel, back in the day, warnings did not expire. Like, this warning is permanent. If you do this anything again, you'll be fucking gone. What the?
Maybe just treat forget that that they're not permanent and move forward that way.
That's true. I've been on my best behavior. It's okay. I think Troon people should be. What's that movie where they?
Let's move on.
I think Troon people should play Hangman in Minecraft, allegedly. See, that's why I like YouTube. You got to game the system with your words. I like it. You can make creative things. They're stoked for you saying the N-word. What's up, Walter? How you doing, man? YouTube doesn't even think you're black. That's true. I'm white. I'm transracial. You got to be inclusive to me.
If you can flip your camera to a negative, you can actually sell that, to be fair. Just tell them you have the Michael Jackson disease from the waist down.
Technically, I would have that from the waist up. I have 9 inches, so I'm too big for
that.
All right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to sell this that it's solely like a Batman belt around your waist, but you're still packing. And if they ask you for evidence, it's sexual harassment.
Oh, God, geez. What else ended up happening this week, actually? Fuck. There was a lot of big stuff, but one thing that I didn't get a chance to talk about when it happened because we were just so busy was when Trump had that State of the Address kind of thing that happened a few weeks ago. And then he basically honored that 13-year-old kid who was essentially still fighting the aggressive brain cancer he has. And then nobody in the leftist side, nobody on the leftist, liberal, whatever they fucking call themselves nowadays, side stood up or clapped or anything.
Like, that was dumbfounding. It's one of those things where, like, on the political reality of like how your optics play out, because when you're talking about how normies perceive politics, it's very much the major factor of what you need to take in is how is this going to be perceived, not what is the policy implementation going to be, what is going to be the downstream economic effects, yada yada yada. None of that. We're talking about how is this perceived, and the reason that this is like one of the major factors why Donald Trump is able to swing so much behind him is because of the perception of what he's able to put out there. The fact that they literally sat there, stone-faced, holding signs upwards. Like, for some reason, the most ineffective form of protest I've ever seen in my life is the way that Rashida Tlaib decided to protest by holding up these stupid-ass fucking signs. And you know what? What we're going to do is, because we're so politically inept and have no idea what we're doing, we're going to follow that. And then the fact, what we're also going to do is make sure that we're going to stone-face at a literal child who has survived brain cancer and numerous surgeries. And when asked about it, we're going to make comments saying that this child is nothing more than a political pawn when we do the exact same thing ourselves at every fucking turn.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And let's not forget, they not only wouldn't stand for that child, they wouldn't stand for fallen police officer when we're told that they cared so much about police officers with January 6th. They wouldn't stand for the victims, the female victims.
The Trump assassination.
No. Before that, the murder of those 2 girls, the Asian moms. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They wouldn't stand for them, even though they're the party for the women's.
Yeah.
They wouldn't stand for the firefighter that was killed in the assassination attempt, yet they're against political violence. No, they're all full of shit. And the reason that they have so much confidence in their conviction to not stand is they're still convinced that they have all the control with the legacy media and everything else, that they think that they're still the cool ones. No one's fucking told them they're not cool anymore. They are completely out of style. And that's going to be their death blow, because as far as the shallow celebrities and everybody that just kind of follows whatever they say for whatever reason, they're doing it because it's trendy and they think it's cool. Once they realize that's not fashionable, you'll see how quickly they turn. And it's already starting to happen.
I will say by the end of this year, because there's a lot of great moments that have happened this year, that moment where that one guy gave him that badge that Trump honored him with, and the kid hugged him. I think that
was great.
Must have been one of the most wholesome moments I've seen in a very long time. And that guy, I forget his name. That guy doesn't break character. That guy always is straight up stone cold face. When you have that happen, you just have to be like, okay, that's just heartwarming. A guy who never, ever does anything to break character at all. It's like those guys that stand in front of those buildings and they never break character at all. They're just stone cold. If you even touch them, they'll just fucking shoot you to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the women there were wearing pink to protest that Trump is against women. But Trump is the one who stopped men from appearing in women's sports, at least in some states. But the governor of Maine is against that. So she's going to fight him in court over risk losing federal funding. I thought these governors love supporting their marginalized people. I thought they love supporting the lower class community that makes no money, helping them out. Like, what are we doing here at this point?
But because they've set up this Marxist oppression scale, someone's always a little more oppressed than someone else. And right now, sorry, ladies, you're not quite as high on the ladder as the trans community.
Mm-hmm.
And then the trans community is not quite as high up right now as the certain religious group that shall remain nameless community.
Oh, you can't do the whole Israel thing.
Right.
People ask why I never comment on Israel. I'll be honest here. Let's be honest here. There's probably some really bad people there, because that's how people function. There's some bad people, there's some good people. But I don't really comment on stuff that I don't know about. It's not who I am. Like, some people will comment on everything. I just won't comment stuff on something I don't know about unless I actually have enough information to go off of. That's just because, I'm not going to sit here and say I know these things when I just be honest, or I don't really know them. That would just be stupid. Damn, that would only almost make me a liberal. Huh. Sorry, that was a quick little burn there. Because I was watching this.
That's the benefit of not going to college. You have enough sense not to do that.
Like, you'll have these women that will say certain things like, well, men are leaning more conservative and women are more liberal. And then the woman that'll say that will be like, well, why don't we have men on the side? It's like, I don't know. People are generally that stupid, or like they literally just don't know. I'm choosing to believe you are that stupid, but you just don't want to accept the facts. Because someone could know something about and why it is, but they just have like these hard pills to swallow. The reason why you don't have young men that want to be liberals is because, well, I mean, look at the modern day liberal you have to look at here, and you have to see everything that they do. If you're someone who wants to forsake all line of reasoning and logic, you don't even know what a woman is. Yeah, that's the reason why most young men wouldn't be a liberal. Just saying. What do you want them to do? I'm glad. It's crazy. I'm glad. We always kind of shit on modern day parents. I'm glad those parents raised them to be conservative. I'd rather a kid be a conservative weirdo, conspiracy theorist, than some dude who thinks men can be women. I'll take that. I'll take a trade any day. Good coin toss on that one.
That conspiracy theorist child is technically just 6 months ahead of MSNBC, admitting everything they've been saying was a lie, and that kid was actually right. So to be fair, that kid's on point.
There we go. Yeah. You're 100% right.
Lies. I've not had sex ever. I'm a fucking loser and an incel, and I sit in my house all day. Only on my
See that I believe.
What? Wow. God damn. We lost him, man. Hi, Miss Sparkles. How you doing? He talks about his blow-up wife and lack of couch. I have a couch. I literally have a couch.
I'm the blow-up wife.
Oh God! You know what's crazy? Elon put out those those robots a while ago, but he didn't talk about them anytime soon.
Yeah, he also didn't talk about that Tesla that lit on fire that the doors locked on because the electrical system fried and the people got stuck inside and burned to death. Didn't expect him to tweet about that when I saw that.
Oh gosh!
I was like, damn, that's insane.
Oh, freaking hell. I was watching a CNN clip And then, because you know, like people were mad at Elon Musk for dismantling all that Doge shit. So they want to go protest by vandalizing other people's property, which is, I don't know what's in their mind. Vandalizing someone's property, which you actually can't do. It's against the law in pretty much every single state. You actually can't do that. But then CNN host, I forgot her name, she called it resistance. Lady, you can't just go up. I could hate you. Let's say I hate Iron. I'm like, I fucking hate that guy. You know what? Legally, I am not allowed to go up there and vandalize his car. You can't do that. I don't know what goes in their brains and you just go and hurt someone's property because you don't like that person. Yeah, someone will call that like, you go to jail for a few nights. What the fuck? What's wrong with these people? They don't like insurrections, but they went into the Trump Tower in New York to cause an insurrection.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is what they do. They set double. Everything is bad unless they're doing it. Violence is bad if it's done to them or by people that they don't agree with. When they do it, it's resistance or it's protest or civil unrest or mostly peaceful. That's the name of the game, man. And it's worn out. They know it's worn out, and yet they keep doing it. So I really just hope for the next 4 years they just keep doing the same
Don't
thing.
They have a 29% approval rating at this point? I heard they had a 29% approval rating. That's terrible. And they keep wondering why no one wants to bat for them. Because literally, what I try to rationalize in my head, because I try to sometimes think on the other side, just because it's always helpful to have your mind exploring ways to the reason why people think certain things. What is their main point? Like several points. They believe in, medical procedures, as we know what they're called. They believe in fucking dudes becoming women. What else? Like I'm saying, like if half the country is like religious, abortion is not something people are going to be for. I'm sorry, it's just what it is.
No, to be honest, I think they just believe in whatever the opposite side believes. Or period. They're going to believe opposite of that. And like if the Republicans were to turn around and change their tune and start agreeing with the Democrats, you watch the Democrats would jump on the other side. That's the reality of it.
Yeah,
because you look at the way they are certain stances that they've had. Like, it was a shame that you could shut down the government. We don't want back when they had power and the Republicans were threatening to shut down the government. We can't have a government shutdown. Now, all of a sudden, they were saying, well, we're going to shut down the government because we can't let Trump do this. What are you talking about? I mean, right now, whatever they believe is opposite of what Trump is pushing, period. It doesn't matter what it is. Like Trump said at his speech to Congress, he could cure cancer and they still wouldn't be happy. They'd be saying that was a bad thing. Just
oppressive to cancer.
Like a kid with cancer that they wouldn't stand up for.
Don't you realize how hard cancer fights to stay alive?
Right.
That's literally the argument that, granted, progressivism itself is a cancer, but that's a conversation for a different day because it grows like one.
Yes.
We're in that
The
conversation.
left eats their own, sadly, just not fast enough.
Scott Jennings, who's on the CNN panel, said it best. If Trump says something, let's just say he says something, and he says, like, fuck, I think red is the best color, and everyone will, like, pretty much 8 out of 10 people agree with him. But then Democrats will go, you know what? I think blue's the best color. They're always just taking the other side just because.
Yeah.
They don't have any reason why they're doing it. It's because I have to make sure I'm different from this guy. If Trump is on an 8 and 10 issue, because Scott Jennings said it best, then the Democrats are on the fucking end. That's like the 20% of the issue. It's like, that means you're not even fighting for what the majority of the American people want anyway.
Masking stopped being about actually making sure that you were protecting other people and protecting yourself, and it became a way of showing your political bona fides that I can hand wave to show how good of a person I am. Because when I show you that I'm wearing a mask, I show you that I actually care about you. Of course, that's not what they mean. What they're showing is who it is that they vie for when it comes to the political game. That's it. Yep. Nothing more. And there was a poll that came out, and it was like, why is it that you wore your mask past X point once this information came out? And it was like, because I didn't want to seem like a bad person. And that is something that is so ingrained within the progressive mindset that they will quite literally put on cloths over their children's face that will stunt their development, destroy their capacity to learn, and ruin an entire generation's ability to even become what they were able to be. It's insane. And then they'll also pat themselves on the back when they do it.
Absolutely. And these are the people that think that they're the rebels. We're the ones, the punk rockers going against the system, man. No, you're not. You are the system.
We're the rebels. That's why we support Darth Vader.
The band American Idiots. Remember they had a song before the election. They're like, I don't want to be part of the MAGA agenda. All these weird, all these bands that everyone loved growing up because they were like, oh, we're gonna fight the man and we're gonna get the girl and all this other cool stuff. They're the biggest fucking cocksuckers of all these organizations. All of them.
Now they're pro Ukraine, pro, Israel Gaza conflict or whatever side they, usually we know what side.
But they advocate conflict. That's the thing. It doesn't matter what side. It's like either way you're advocating conflict.
Exactly. They're pro war. They are pro and military industrial complex, pro war, pro pharmaceutical industrial complex, all of the big systems, pro big oppressive government that tells you what you can even say. It may, and it's the same problem with fucking comedy that used to be something that could really expand your mind and everything. But now we got Bill Burr out here, you want to Nazi? What the fuck?
One of the greatest travesties. If Norm Macdonald could see what Bill Burr has become, he would facepalm so hard that his forehead would blow out the back of his fucking scalp.
The world has never needed Norm more than it needs him now, but
thank God for Shane Gillis at least taking up that uncomfortable comedy routine of just like saying something, knowing it's not going to land, just and then the fucking crowd loses it. I thought that was going to get more laughs. Just SNL crowd erupts.
Or you have Stephen A. Smith, who literally got, I think, a 5-year extension on his contract from ESPN to talk more about politics. Yeah, because that's what people want to tune into when they watch ESPN. Yeah, he's such a piece of shit of a dude, but he's had some really base takes recently.
It's like he knows he's full of shit, and every now and then the mask slips. He's like, well, this is all.
That's why I believe some of these guys are faking it, man. Like Bill Maher, Stephen A. Smith,
just a den of harpies.
I was going to say, I don't think Stephen A. Smith is necessarily faking it. I think he's just getting fed up, and that's part of what you saw a lot in this election. Was you saw a lot of people on the left. They were like, wait a minute, you guys have gone so far to the left that I just can't get on board with any of this anymore. And I think that's what you're seeing some with Stephen A. Smith is, he's called out the Democrats on some of their stuff lately. Like he called them out.
He went on The View, you remember?
He called them out after Trump's speech. And he's like, you keep doing this stuff, you guys are never going to win another election. I mean, he's not hesitating calling them out for their stupidity.
Bill Maher's another one who's called him out plenty of times too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I agree with their takes. I'm just saying that.
Shit?
What's that?
Do you see the Smash Bros clip that was put out by like AOC and the squad of like?
Oh God!
Absolute.
Oh, the one where they were dancing. Right?
I still think they're cool.
Whoever their political strategist is, don't fire them because the right's going to win for like in perpetuity for the next 100 years.
And that was just days after doing that other cringe bullshit where they all put out that like Trump talking about egg prices. I'll mark that as shit that never happened. And they all kept repeating the same the same script basically. And I think nearly all of them did it, and they didn't think to change it up even just a little bit. It was so cut and paste, so fucking cringe, and they're just trying to, we'll make it edgy by throwing in one cuss word because Trump cusses sometimes. So meh.
I just remembered it.
Cool.
I just remembered this today.
So insane.
My brain fried. That Looney Tune that's in it's the one that represents a house in a state. I forgot which one. I think it might be Tennessee, right? Okay, I'll give him that. That was a banger. I'll have that one. Listen. God, where they were calling him, they were actually calling him by his biological name. The court represents.
Oh yeah.
Where he said that Republicans or conservatives are too focused on culture war and they come off as weird. This is the guy. I'm just saying. Oh God, it's like he's so close to getting it. It's a troon who's telling other people that they're weird while he's a dude dressed as a woman. Self-awareness is just out the wall.
The
Out
layers
the
of
window.
irony go even deeper. It's the left, the people who have played the culture war since the collapse of the banks after Occupy Wall Street, where they were like, all right, what's that? The left and the right are unified. They've realized that it's the banks and the fact of what's going on with the massive spending and how they're being manipulated. Quick, inject identity politics into society.
Exactly what happened, man.
Yep.
That's
What
They
activated
saw
me.
not-
I was a child and that activated me. I was like, what just happened here?
Yeah, they saw an uprising. They had to stop it, but they also needed a way to insert. They've been working on that for a long time, and it just hadn't taken off. They couldn't. Too much actual progress had happened to be able to really divide people that easily by something that had pretty much expired. So they waited for that, and then they inserted it. And I think it was Tim Pool who actually was there and saw it happening. They were going over, like they had operatives there that would get a bunch of stupid kids together, change their talking points, rile them up, and then that was it. Killed an entire movement and turned it into something else.
Yep.
Oh God, it's just really weird.
And it was brilliant.
It's just so crazy now that I remember I saw the clip where the guy was introducing the troon, who's the senator, calls him a dude, and the other white guy got offended on his behalf. It's like, how dare you, sir? You will address this lady the way she says. He's like, I'm not doing it.
No, thank you.
Like, bro, the nerve of a dude dressed as a woman telling you you're weird is probably the most ironies of all time. Truly irony of all time, man. I hate it.
Think of how they went after JD Vance. Well, you see, you're just weird. JD Vance is weird. Meanwhile, Tim Waltz looking like he's someone who would have literally filleted the people on Epstein Island just to get them ready. It's absolutely bananas that this absolute fucking clown is sitting there who looks like the fluffer for Jeffrey Epstein is going to sit there and tell you, you know what?
Yes.
That guy who was raised in Appalachia, who was poor, who was brought up in a home that was just destroyed by drugs. Yeah, that's a weird person. And why?
Right.
Because he's the most normal person that's ever trounced into the political scene. And what did we have to do? Smear him as weird. Because, of course, as we know, every accusation is an admission of their own guilt. Because they're fucking weird.
I want to show you guys
self-made man goes through the Marines, puts himself through college, marries an attractive, is in a
Indian
biracial relationship, with
But
like
that's racist 'cause he's
beautiful
white.
wife, beautiful kids, all this, and this guy says he's weird.
Yeah.
What
crazy.
the actual fuck?
JD
I
Vance
watched
ended
Tim
up
Waltz
marrying
do the black
someone.
woman snap, and I knew he was cooked.
Right.
It's really interesting that they say that people on whatever side is racist. He married an Indian woman. Like, guys, people don't know that would be marrying a person in a marginalized community. Are they stupid?
Well, what was
They
great?
pulled the model minority myth immediately. They're like, oh, well, actually, he's racist because Indians are adjacent to white because of the model minority myth, because they succeed and blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
I thought we just cared about brown people.
Right.
It's like, that's why you added their color on the pride flag to basically be like, being black is a sexuality, by the way. It's like, fucking what? It's what?
They also was great. They took pictures of when he went through the marriage ceremony for her family, did it respectfully and with the full garb, and like started calling cultural appropriation.
Honestly, I will admit, Indian marriage attire looks really cool. The same thing with Nigerian marriage attire. If you've ever seen a dashiki, most badass looking thing ever. I would love to wear one, but apparently I'm a racist if I do it.
Right.
So alas.
Oh no! Remember that famous video where that guy dressed up in some classic Mexican outfit, a sombrero, and that sheet that they sometimes wear over their bodies. He went to a bunch of white people, and they were like, "Oh no, you're culturally appropriating Mexicans." And the girl was like, "This is appropriating Mexican stereotypes." He then went to 5 Mexican people, and they actually liked him.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, I think you look cool."
They're like, "Hey!"
They're like, oh, dude,
yeah,
great.
because Cinco de Mayo, like where I live, is a very touristy area, and for the cantinas and all these Mexican-owned businesses and the little shops, the vendors, they make all of their money during Cinco de Mayo. So the year they put the fucking kibosh on Cinco de Mayo, calling it racist and cultural appropriation, they hated that shit because you were fucking with their money. Like that's how they make their whole year. In some
I dated
cases.
a Mexican girl, so I know I can celebrate Cinco de Mayo now. I understand the taco language at this point now.
I live in a majority Mexican community, so I eat Mexican food consistently, so I feel like I can use those slurs. I'm kidding. That's totally not how that works, but we'll act like it is.
I'm just saying, hey, Mexican people could be either the most craziest or the absolute most wholesome. They're no in between. Either you get absolutely crazy ones or you get the most wholesome ones.
I feel like that defines more so their women, because most Mexican dudes, I mean this, 10 out of 10, always fucking absolute bros.
Right?
For women, they're either going to make you a badass meal or make you a badass meal and then stab you because you didn't eat all of it.
Bob, would you like to, say anything about those stereotypes?
Well, first off, I ain't Mexican, dang it. I'm Hispanic. I'm American, damn it. So
those are vast differences.
So, but yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. There's, I better not. You're on
the MSK show. I'm sure it's fine.
You were mentioning.
I'm censored now.
Poperoni, you were mentioning about the Nigerian attire. Well, my significant other, she's from Kenya. So, if I were to get married in that, I'd be appropriating that culture, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be married in a tuxedo. I'm going to have to wear something different.
How dare you respect her wishes and her culture and her family?
Exactly.
Freaking misogynist. How do you respect her
cultural appropriation? It's so stupid to argue that particular argument. It's kind of like what you were saying, Iron, earlier about how a lot of that stuff was trendy, or so they thought it was, and people are moving past that. They've wised up to a bunch of it now. It's like, that stuff's just stupid at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it always was. Yeah. They guilted and they made people with common sense, kind of like the mask thing you were saying, Poperoni. They were doing it to virtue signal because they didn't want, I have to keep wearing it even though I don't agree with it, because I don't want anybody to think I'm a bad person. So I think everybody got so blindsided by the rapid fire use of words like racism, cultural, all these new fucking words being thrown at everything, that everybody was just walking on eggshells for almost 10 years. And nobody gives a shit anymore. None of those words they've been so diluted, they mean nothing now. And people are tired of it. They just want to live their lives, have fun, fucking, do whatever they want, and not get shit on just for every little comment, decision, joke, something they wear, anything.
Yeah, and then the same people will be like, well, what happened to comedy? Well, you all kind of got rid of it when you decided that jokes were harmful. That's the reason why. I don't know if people's brains function anymore. If blood cells ever work. I don't know if things work anymore. They deemed a lot of humor offensive, so you had to basically have limitations on what you could make fun of. And it's like, it's what Ricky Gervais said, I think. He said, if you take a joke seriously, it's because you chose to be offended by it. Something like that. I think he said something similar to that. Like, people say jokes all the time. Like, man, I've heard some heinous shit in real life. I know we're jokes, and I'm like, okay, cool. What you should do is just go about your day. Like, if you didn't laugh, that's whatever. If you did laugh, it's cool. Not go like, man, I gotta go on Twitter and say, man, this white guy, he called me the N-word and he laughed about it. Now I must make a big deal of it. It's like, dude, are you a pussy? What the fuck's wrong with you? I'm saying, like, there's. I get, like, people say, well, should there be a line to that? Not really. Nothing happened to you. There's a joke. I don't even care if you didn't laugh. It's a fucking joke. What do you want to happen?
And it's like we have kids that are destroying comedy that came out, like, in some cases 40 years before they were born.
Yeah, they'll say things like
retroactively.
Well.
Yeah, attacking things from the 60s, 70s, 80s that. Every 5 years, a new group of fucking retarded college kids will discover Tropic Thunder like they're the first ones to ever seen this movie.
They'll start doing video essays. Yeah, I remember I was watching this guy who does, like, video facts about, like, South Park and Futurama so you could fall asleep to. And his videos are fine, but he said one thing. There's an episode of Futurama back in the day that had, like, Troon stuff in it. He was like, well, they didn't really address, like, the Troon community very well in this episode. What the fuck's wrong with you? First of all, why should they? Second of all, it's a comedy show. And third, keep in mind, all of kids understand this though, shit that was made before you were alive didn't care what your opinion was because you weren't alive. It's also made for the time period, like Family Guy. People say, well, these references don't make any sense. That's because they were made in, like, the 2000s. You weren't even born until, like, 2010. The hell? Of course they were made for you, retard.
Pour one out for Family Guy. What a disaster that's become over the past few years, man.
Yeah, they have occasional good bits, but that's about
occasional episodes are actually bangers.
It's holding on better than The Simpsons is unwatchable now, and that is tragic because I mean that's like it went from the longest running animated show of all time. Now it's like I think it's just the longest running series in general of all time.
That's crazy.
They needed to stop. I mean. But now with their hands tied behind their back, having to, the whole thing with the poo and everything else, it's just, and all of their jokes are just like everything else, just like SNL. It's just shit now. And it has been for a long time.
Family Guy tried to revive Simpsons with their crossover a long time ago, but it didn't do it because Simpsons had already, if you guys go back and watch older Simpsons episodes, just go watch compilations of them. You'll be like, damn, that was so good. To try watch a compilation of this later seasons, not very good at all. It's actually just, you don't even laugh at the jokes. You're like, this is just stupid, Well,
you mentioned it, Iron. That's like SNL now. I was watching some clips of one of the most recent cold openings, and I was just like, "Is this supposed to be funny?" And I went back and watched an old sketch with Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor, and I laughed my ass off. Good stuff. SNL used to be a cutting edge show, with cutting edge humor. And you could just
the celeb interviews that were cool. I remember back in the day when I was younger, when we only had like 13 channels because that was all the freaking landlord could afford and stuff like that. When we didn't have anything after a while, and I would just stay up at night. SNL would come on. You have like a celebrity come on and talk with the guest or whatever. It was super fun. It felt really cool. But then it just after a while, you could tell there was a tone shift there. Like they were just. I don't know. They didn't want to produce the same product. I remember the highest ratings they got for an SNL was that Sydney Sweeney bit she did after Madam Web bombed, and then their 50th anniversary or whatever that happened, or something like that. Keep in mind, guys, Sydney Sweeney only really made it pop because her boobs are very big.
I was about to say, her chest made that viewership skyrocket.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons there.
Yeah, some very big reasons there. And she had to roast herself. She was like, you know what, Madam Web sucks, but hey, it is what it is.
She seems like she's actually got a decent sense of humor. It's just like a chick who's like got, I would say, like a half bro's sense of humor and just kind of runs with the punches. She's like, I know what I am. I'm a blonde bombshell and I'm a half okay actress. And because of that, I'm going to vibe with that. And it's like, I respect that.
You don't think her brain like got drained of fluid because of her boobs?
I don't care what she has to say.
That's true. That's actually true.
That doesn't mean anything to me.
Though
every
you
time
can't
she's
say
on
she's
screen
not
in a
smart.
movie, I mute. I'm trying to focus.
In all
Being a
fairness,
subpar actress, she knows how to market herself.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
To make herself, she's probably one of the most famous actresses who's not really in that much and not that great.
Yeah.
And she's keeping the right people. Like she's not pissing off her fans. She hasn't turned around and started screaming, "Stop objectifying me, misogyny, all this." She's actually gone the other route, and that's made her cool. Again, it all comes down to what's cool and what's not.
And dudes
she called out Hollywood.
Go! It's so
earlier last year.
It's so funny.
Remember, she called out all the women in Hollywood who claim to be all for inclusivity, but then that's just fake. On the surface level shit. She just, to be fair, she just kind of said what we already knew anyway, but it just shows you that even there's some people out there that understand, like who's that guy? Zachary Levy. He started talking about all that stuff recently. Yeah. Like some of these guys, they know it, but the problem is like some of these guys did sell their soul, at least to get famous. And it's like, I understand like Sydney Sweeney,
Kanye's mom.
Good Lord. Kanye West, his tweets recently have been, he's like, why can I hate Jews but also be a Nazi myself? I'm like, bro, just stop.
Bro sounding like Hitler in the beer putsch before he really started getting into his Mein Kampf era.
He's
he'll say like some really base shit and then say something completely retarded. I don't get it.
He's completely insane. This is like this is another perfect example of going back to animation. South Park called it out perfectly when they did that whole episode of how he has just gone completely crazy and he's off his med.
Yes. Oh God. But I wanted to show you guys this really quickly. The Stephen A. Smith completely clapping The View, and it's so crazy that their ratings were so bad. they wanted to have more conservative people on. They bring on Stephen A. Smith, who's obviously not conservative, but whatever. By the by, people lie.
He's a 2008 liberal, just like Elon Musk is. He's a fucking San Francisco liberal from 2012, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't know, I don't want this dude that says he's a chick beating the fuck out of this 16-year-old high school girl in wrestling and accidentally breaking her neck."
Right, I agree.
Like, clearly, he hates women, and he was like, "All right."
It's just so crazy that they at this point, because they have no ratings anymore and they lied about the election and how it wasn't close at all, that they will have on their different viewpoints on. But they'll have people that are on that are very similar thinking to them. Like they had that. Who's the one guy who runs the Breakfast Club? It's the one bald black guy.
Charlemagne.
Yeah, Charlemagne on. Like even though it's like, okay, he's saying some stuff that they'll disagree with, but he largely will agree with them on everything. They would say otherwise. But I guess if having different,
he's the one I keep thinking is gonna wake up. He keeps every time you'll see him in it. Sometimes he'll have those like, oh shit moments. Like, what? My whole reality's been crushed. But then he just reverts back to no, man, no. Like, oh damn it, we almost had you.
God, it's like their third eye is like almost opening, but it just still is closed.
And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever. And he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, okay, I want people to understand how bad she lost. She won no swing states. Do you know, for the average person out there, do you know how bad that is? Swing states, the reason why presidential candidates go to them to conquer them is because they can actually legitimately swing an election because they're kind of like generally undecided states. She lost all of them. Zero. You know how bad that is? That's really bad. That's actually just disgusting, honestly. Like, when was the last time in an election nobody won a swing state? I can't remember the last one. Like zero. Actually, you got zero. What was the last person?
It was the person that rivaled Nixon.
Oh shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so the thing that's so crazy about this whole thing is with Joy Behar is like, well, how is this any form of a mandate? It's like, yeah, like you said, the popular vote, and he won all of the swing states. So what's so crazy is that we're going to put Kamala Harris in this position, the woman who couldn't even get past Iowa initially when we were going through the ringer, but in the 2020 election, gets excommunicated because she is the most impressively unimpressive political person that has ever walked through the halls of politics. And yet that's who we're going to jettison to the front lines because we support Black women.
You know, here's another
and
point.
All you do is a disservice to the Black women that could have done that job.
Here's another point to the popular vote. You know, let's just assume that the BS that they say that Biden got 81 million votes. Let's just assume that that's true.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Even if that was true, she lost 6 million votes off of that. And Trump actually gained from 2020 in the popular vote. So by her saying, well, it was a small win in the popular vote, but your candidate lost like 6 million votes.
I'm going to tackle that point you just brought up. Let's just say hypothetically he did get all those votes, which we know is bullshit.
Yeah.
What happened? First of all, okay, if you can just as a logic, if all those people voted, which we know is not true, what happened to all of them? That means in 4 years you convinced 81 million people you ain't shit. That's bad. That's really bad. Like, let's be honest, if you lost that many people, you suck ass completely.
And that's the point that I'm making, that when she's like, well, it's a small popular vote. Well, yeah, but hypothetically, if you got 81 million votes in 2020 and you lost that many votes, that is a mandate because you could not keep those people in your party.
Oh, God.
By definition, a mandate.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why I have white people here.
No other way around it.
Iron, you're muted. I don't know if you're rapping.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I want to know where such a large percentage of our population just went over the last. Where did they all go?
They went in Joe Biden's
They returned back to the cemetery.
Right, they're just fucking gone, man.
They're gone, man. They went back to
Wild.
They went back to Joe Biden's memory. You know, they'll never be forgotten.
It is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts: the man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of Blacks, Latinos, and young voters.
Also, Trump has the most Black male supportership of any Republican ever. ever.
Yep.
Honestly, not black women because they suck ass and they're complete trash. But
that's the matrix of men and women skewing on politics.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? How no other Republican white guy could get that many black votes, black male votes, which is very hard to get because Democrats usually have them at their fucking heels, you know. But he has all of them, and people say, I mean, people will go like, "Why did they vote for Trump?" Are you serious? Remember Obama in that video had to convince those 4 black guys, "You guys don't want to vote for because she's a woman." Remember that?
Shamed them. He tried to pull out a whole humiliation tactic.
Oh, because that's what you got to do for black people. Is humiliate them. Hey, you're making a bad decision. You know, come on.
Let me just pull out the Marxist rule book here and what should we do to you fellas to get you in line?
Obama shaming every black man, calling them a misogynist because they didn't want to support this black woman that was pushing an agenda that in many ways, when she was a progressive prosecutor, was enslaving black men to the tune of getting paid 17 cents an hour to go fight wildfires in California with no real training, many of which died. But of course, we're not going to report on that because why would we ever do that? And then you got Joe Biden, the author of the 1994 crime bill, the man who comes out literally to the right of fucking Ronald Reagan on drugs and is like, yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go after him hard and throw the book at him. Anyone that does any illegal substance that's illicit in any way, we're going to give them life in jail. Coming out to the right of Strom Thurmond and fucking Richard Nixon on the fucking Vietnam War. It's like, this man is literally insane. Yep. And he couldn't tell you that he did any of it.
Also, do you guys know who the leader of the KKK votes for? Shit, it's sure not Republicans or conservatives. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, it's the party that started the KKK.
I was about to say, it's the founders.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, fun fact for a lot of the younger generation out there that watches these shows, do you guys know which party voted to stop slavery? Sure, when the Democrat won back in the day. That's why they call it the Republican Party the Party of Freedom. Just put it out there. They were the ones against having slaves, even though the media says they're the ones that are for slavery, which is wrong. It's actually legitimate.
But actually, there was a party switch in the 70s or late 60s. That's when all the racists went over to the Republic.
Fuck off! No, they didn't. Never happened. They just knew how to manipulate and get all the votes.
Same conversation, but about neocons too. But they won't do that. It's insane.
Oh yeah,
damn it.
Neocons, literal leftists.
In that regard, from 2020, 89% of the counties shifted to the right.
I will also be confirmed this. My county, which is San Bernardino County, which is predominantly pretty much always blue, also swinged red this time around. I'm not kidding. The county has been blue pretty much ever since I've been alive, which is like almost 30 years at this point. They swung red, guys. No, it didn't matter for California because, you know, it's Los Angeles, San Diego, Sacramento, and, you know, San Francisco.
Here's the thing, dude.
Yeah.
All of that, while it still definitely would pose a challenge, if California had the voter laws that they need in place and the security measures, I think it would be a swing state, or it could be a flip.
Yeah, but that's racist to have voter ID. You're racist for voter ID. Fuck you. Yeah, freaking immigrants. No, I'm just kidding.
In fact, it's a crime to ask for ID.
Oh, for Vegas, do you guys have voter ID or that bullshit or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we have voter ID.
Mandate.
Every time I voted, I get asked for it.
Around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won a popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can
look at them all just dumbfounded. Just, oh my God.
They're not. They know it's true. See.
Yeah.
Yes. Are they stupid? Absolutely. But they're not that completely uninformed. They're just They think if they say these things loudly and enough times, it'll make it true. Or at least it'll make people think it's true. But they know it's bullshit. They know everything he's saying is true. And that's why they don't have anything they can't clap back with anything factual because they don't have it.
Yeah, they know they get their talking points from the ABC executives who run the fucking View. ABC, which you guys know is owned by Disney, and Bob Iger doesn't even want ABC anymore because, you know, there's no fucking ratings on this show anymore. There's no ratings in TV in general. This is the only cute one. All the rest of these are fucking bombed fucking Whoopi Goldberg.
Wait, you're telling me the token conservative is the only cute one? That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it's
would have
crazy. To call her.
never guessed that the
I'll say
dysgenic leftists are not attractive.
I'll say it's they do call her a conservative, but I don't know, man.
She's
She
not.
never fights them on anything.
No, she's a token conservative. She's a conservative in every single way that Joy Behar is, which means none.
Look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party, you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
We should continue to do that. Don't continue to do it. Find a new strategy.
Hold on, wait a minute. Did she just say this was the most voted for election in history? Because voting actually isn't really, like, politics in general, not really that popular with a lot of people. Voting has actually gone up year on year out when it comes to elections. This was the most voted for election. What do you mean no one showed up?
Well, that's not true because 81 million people voted for Biden. So.
Right.
Isn't that
and
so
where the fuck are they now?
It's always last election. It was, and I mean the 2020 election. It's like, well, this is the most people ever have had turnout in the election. And then in 2024, they're like, more people showed up to vote this time than ever. It's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's just not how this works, especially in politics.
And then they're so dumbfounded why they don't have any viewers. It's like, are you just purposely stupid? Like, you're stupid, right? But you just
clips of their show get more views than their show does.
And people commenting on them. That's crazy. Us commenting and doing an EFAP of that will have more views than their show. That's ridiculous. And we're just, 4 buttfuck nobodies in some states. Find some webcam.
They get 20K in the key demo during the day, during live. And you have to consider that they're in airports across the country.
Right. And their numbers are nowhere near the numbers of Tim Pool, Steven Crowder,
Charlie Kirk. No, not those numbers. Oh, another one.
Nerdrotic.
I watched an autistic dude playing fucking Guitar Hero, slamming away at 200x speed, playing through the Fire and Flames that has more viewership than these broads. Like, they have no power. But they still act like it because they're like, we have a multi-million-dollar conglomerate. It's like, I want to know the cost of that studio, the overhead, how much is spent on the data, and then your salaries, and then compare it to the output value of the ad revenue that's brought in with everything that you do.
This was after the State of the Congress address. Oh,
I
my
hate
goodness.
Nicole Wallace so
Oh,
fucking
Lord.
much.
It's so crazy how this company will get rid of Joy Reid, but then they'll just have a white lady on who does the same shit. So you're saying that MSNBC's racist?
She looks like in between takes, she goes backstage and her jaw like disconnects from her face so she can eat an infant in one swallow. Just
former George W. Bush White House press secretary, by the way, now an MSNBC correspondent. It's almost like they literally walked through a revolving door of fun.
Now, would you say she sucked her way off to the top or she failed upwards?
No, she's not Kamala Harris.
Okay.
No. I bet she was a reptile, not a floozy. But
honestly, if you look at her bottom jaw, it does look like it could distend, and she does look like she's lacking her adrenal fluids.
Some would say maybe she's a Lucius Morningstar. Honestly, some would say that. Jeez, all the jokes are always there.
I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And
first of all, bitch, you can tell how highly medicated she is. She hasn't felt anything in 3 decades.
Dude, the lack of unfeeling carelessness has to just rot out your soul to be able to. You see this child who wants to be a police officer. By the way, where he was harassed was in Houston, Texas. When I saw that that's where that happened, I was legitimately defeated because I was like, wow, that's fucking devastating that's my city. I've never actually felt sorrow in that way where it's like, wow, that's where I live. But to see a child like this get bullied because he wants to do something with his life, I was like, it was heartbreaking. I don't know what else to say. And then Nicole Wallace, great person.
Why doesn't she call out the black women
Trump supporters
that harassed him? Those black women harassed a 13-year-old kid who survived brain cancer. Why don't they call out them?
Because
they were protesting their right to defund the police and all of that shit. So
yeah, it was literally like women twerking on this 13-year-old brain cancer survivor, like making fun of him because he wants to be something. It's like, come on.
Did you see this kid pitching woo to what's her name? That God, that chick that's always getting criticized for wearing the short skirts, that one journalist, what's her name?
I don't know her name. I was thinking Alina Habba, but that's one of Trump's lawyers. I don't know. I know you're
There's so many hot ones, it's hard to keep up. I know.
How is Pam Bondi 60, by the way? I don't know what she's sacrificing.
She's
but
60.
Holy shit.
Name a bigger downgrade, because it's the April, from the animated movie from TNT.
That's one I'll go with that one. Yeah.
Name a bigger downgrade. I don't know if this is an animated series or a movie, but to the animated movie that came out in 2022 with TMNT and Critical Drinkers. Name a bigger downgrade.
Kathleen Kennedy looks as much of a man as Kamala Harris. Holy shit.
Oh, God. What's a bigger downgrade than that? Fuck. Shit. There's a lot. There's a lot to think about if you go back to.
I don't know. Donald Trump down to Joe Biden was a pretty big downgrade.
Yeah.
So.
I'm really trying to think of something media-wise that's that big of a downgrade. Oh, easy. Teen Titans compared to the CW's Titans.
Right.
Oh my word.
Batman the Animated Series compared to the newest one they put out on Amazon Prime.
Oh, that one sucks.
Ooh, I don't even want to
How
talk
about the new
about that.
Superman show? How about that awfulness?
The which one?
Oh, are you talking about
Superman show.
or Superman and Lois?
Superman and Lois or the new movie?
Superman and Lois. The movie looks interesting. I'm hoping that's good, but I'm reserving.
Superman and Lois actually wasn't that bad.
No, I didn't mind it. I just didn't like the way that they followed the plot with like just stepping out of the bounds to do new things with Superman. Well, I'm like, I wanted a traditional Superman story. Granted, that makes me biased, and I can eat that and own that.
Well, at least they showed him
animation
being
was
a
killer,
dad.
Though. I loved that though.
They showed him being a dad and raising kids. I was like, you know what? They're showing at least a guy who can still be a cool dad right there.
That.
Yeah. Like, man, him a bigger downgrade. Fuck.
Yeah, the Amazon Superman show is the downgrade that I was thinking about. The Superman and Lois, the CW one, is literally a banger. Like, that's a family show.
Yeah.
No, that one's pretty good. Yeah.
That was good. Damn.
Like
oh my God.
Flash and Arrow.
Going from
feelings.
Batman Begins and The Dark Knight to Robert Pattinson's Batman.
I didn't mind it, but it wasn't what I wanted out of the movie. But I will admit it's good to see people be like, dude, I finally have a Batman that I like. Because there's some people who just couldn't grapple.
Yeah, it's fine.
What Nolan did, which that's my Batman and will forever be.
But, oh my God,
I think the Nolan verse is great. It really wasn't until I watched the Penguin series, and then I
haven't seen it.
Actively hated the Batman. I watched the Penguin, which I loved, then rewatched the Batman, and I got more of an appreciation for it. I still don't think Robert Pattinson's a good casting for Batman. He's a good actor, but he's not Batman.
Oh my God,
that's a good one. The Scooby-Doo bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Whoever did that should hang from a light post. That's evil.
Allegedly in Minecraft.
They're not gonna be like fucking hurt or anything. I want them literally like dangling from their waist so children can beat them like a pinata with sticks.
Just accidentally maybe kick them off a boat with blood.
That woman on the left is why I have my taste in women. And then they cursed me with this shit on the right.
They did this to the Hex Girls.
To be fair, if this was a real chick, it would be one of those before Hollywood, after Hollywood. Like that could be that could be Ariana Grande from like the mid 2000s, whenever she was getting famous to now.
This is before OnlyFans and after OnlyFans.
Right. Before meth, after meth.
Romeo and Juliet. Oh my God, yeah.
By the way, Juliet's supposed to be the most beautiful woman that Romeo's ever seen. Just saying.
And not that.
Are you saying she's not?
I am. Yes. I'm saying that looks like a 0 out of 10. That's my opinion. That's a 0. I'm not even a 1. Oh. Okay. I like this one. All right. Little Mermaid. What else we got here? MJ to MJ.
Oh, they casted Sadie Sink, which is seeming like
Is
she
she
might
really
play
Michelle
MJ.
Jones? Also, is that a bait and switch? If she's not MJ, she's Michelle Jones, and that's stupid.
It's still a bait and switch. It's even dumber than making her MJ. That's how stupid.
Yeah.
It is.
Hi, Nay, how you doing, man? Oh, I agree. I like
that. That's 100%.
I totally agree, but I would have had to have listened to Terrence Howard in the middle of fucking Civil War explain to me his math like he did to Joe Rogan, and I just couldn't have made it through that.
When I first saw this, I didn't know he got recasted. I was like, wait, why does he look darker in this one? This was back in the day when I was way younger, you know? But if you swap a black guy out, you were not going to notice, honestly. But yeah, this is a massive downgrade. And he never
there were a lot of other black actors they could have cast that would have actually fit the character. See, it's not always just race swaps. It's like you need to cast characters that are the same, like that look like the character. And he doesn't look anything like Rhodey. Fucking Terrence Howard did.
He doesn't have that fun kind of upbeat personality either. Like he never even had an arc in the MCU. The only arc he really had was in the first movie he was in, which was fine. Like he was that buddy to Tony, and then he got shot in Civil War, and he was just not cared for. And he had that joke in Age of Ultron, but that was it. He's really never had anything.
Oh, and then we go and find out he's been a Skrull the whole time, guys. Wow.
Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that. It's so bad.
Oh yeah.
That okay. I'll get Bunny that one. That's the Crow.
Every time I see her out, all I hear is only Rosie O'Donnell, and I'm just like, yeah.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Oh, by the way, I thought that was fake, and then I realized it was like, of course they would cast someone that literally looks like she could have played a fucking monster in a horror film.
This lady is Lucius Morningstar. This is the devil right there. You don't ever
yeah,
with that.
We're gonna cast
Nosferatu memes with
someone
her.
that looks like a demon as the King of Kings.
Hi, Selena. How you doing? Go to work. You're supposed to be working. You're on the clock. Oh my goodness. Talking on the clock.
Isn't it racist to say a black woman couldn't fix her own arm though? Like we live in 2024. They can do anything.
That's the one I was thinking of right there.
Velma. Yeah, for sure.
I will admit. Mindy Kaling, probably the worst thing that's ever happened to cinema.
I don't understand this reference.
And I watched Equilibrium.
Oh,
no, I'm thinking of Megalopolis, not Equilibrium.
Oh,
not
okay.
Equilibrium.
Thank you.
Right when I said that, I realized I was like, no, I just said a good movie. I can't sacrifice that.
Right.
Evolution
It's 1984 with gun fu.
Yeah,
what's that to like?
Megalopolis was the worst thing I've ever seen. And if you haven't seen it,
but thanks for the warning.
Megaflopolis.
I mean this, and I'm not exaggerating. I think it's just as bad as The Room, if not worse.
Oh man.
Oh, God.
It's like comedically bad. It's like 7 movies.
They changed their mascots on the Apple Jacks boxes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gay. Oh, hell no. I like that. It's a Winnie mom. I like that.
He had a badass
cinnamon Rastafarian.
He was a Jamaican cinnamon sticks. No! What they do?
You want to smoke the cinnamon, man?
The war between the American black community and Jamaicans continues onward.
I like Apple Jacks. What are you doing? Okay. Okay.
That's a good one.
This is a good one.
Okay. The greatest to ever do it to some guy that got mad because his
CGI?
wife got called fucking bald.
Do you remember the first trailer when it dropped for the Aladdin movie and we saw the CGI of him looking like the genie? Oh my God, that was disgusting. That is terrible. Oh God.
Yeah, it was some movies of bad.
In all fairness, I don't think Will Smith was the worst part of that movie.
Katie Holmes was gonna be in it. She couldn't make it though.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't believe that Bruce Wayne dives off that building for Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think he lets her fall.
I know.
Oh God. What was she filming to not film The Dark Knight? I forgot.
I don't know, but they should have fired
her birth. She got pregnant. She couldn't do it because she got pregnant.
Oh, she can still act. Just blow the baby out.
As far as I remember, that's why.
Yeah, fucking hell, blow the baby out.
Yeah, blow her up while she's pregnant. That'd have to be more impactful. I'm for it.
Just literally blow the baby out. Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Well, from one of the greatest games of all time to that piece of shit, followed by a piece of shit series.
And then Neil Cuckman, who's a fucking loser, goes like, "Hey, what about the people?" The interviewer asked him, like, "What about the people that didn't like The Last of Us 2?" He was like, "Well, fuck them. I don't
Yeah.
care.
You know what that means? Your art didn't convey the weight that you wanted it to, which completely destroys the concept of what was The Last of Us. It was a narrative with weight that had a real telling of the understanding of the evolution of the cycle of violence. And what do? Stick a fist in your ass and play with you like a puppet.
Is that Diddy?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, okay. All right.
Honestly, I would pay to see the AI edit of Diddy as Sam Wilson.
Oh, we forgot about this one. There was a State Farm commercial that came out. There was a Batman themed one that had more accurate costumes and the way the characters should look than Hollywood production. They still had a black Jim Gordon, which is like, come on, we gotta stop doing that. But other than that, it's perfect. It's amazing.
We'll never have a white Irish Jim Gordon again. It's just that.
Dude, we'll never have a white Jake from State Farm again.
Well, that's the problem once you race swap a character, because once you do it, if you go back, people will instantly start saying that you were racist to do it. That's why April hasn't been white in a while. That's why Jim Gordon now he's going to.
They're still complaining about. They're still complaining about Catwoman because of the casting from the 1966 series, not realizing that wasn't what she looked like in the comic books that were around at the same time at all. They cast her because she was a famous comedic actress, and that was kind of the shtick of the show back then. But now it's like, well, she's always been black. No, she hasn't.
Yeah, Catwoman is a character where they've drawn her skin tone very differently. She was what? I forgot. She's been white, light skin. She's been darker. It's
yeah, she's had like a mulatto Greek look, like in like multiple series of comics.
Yeah. Let's see who else is there. What else happened? Are you guys black?
Sure am.
No, I'm not. I hate that shit.
Racist.
God. Okay, this girl has some very big boobs. I'm not looking.
Shout out Sydney Sweeney.
So anyway, back to the Catwoman. Like, every so often though, they'll harp onto that. Like if they see her out of what they consider the right way to be interpreted, they pitch a fit. We'll do all that. But that was my whole point. Anyway, do you have a topic, MSK?
Topics? That's fucking gay. Who has topics on these shows? But I do have a mic drop moment from the Border Czar. There's a mic drop moment.
Oh, that was a good one. I saw that today.
Oh, this was great.
You say to those who claim you're using a 200-year-old law to circumvent due process?
An old law? It's not as old as the Constitution. We still pay attention to that, don't we?
But some would say this is
Mic drop. I hate these people. They're so stupid.
He's so just blunt, and you can tell he's just an old town boy. Like he's just a corn-fed American. He hears the nonsense that gets volleyed by the corporate press and how it's structured. He's like, nah, I'm not playing that game. And he does the same thing that Senator Kennedy does. He just cuts right through it.
That's how everybody has to address the bullshit.
The moral equivocation game is dead, and anyone that plays it will be laughed out of the room.
One more fun one before we head out in a little bit. Who's the greatest sidekick?
Out of just these guys?
I guess you'd have to go Robin, right?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go Teen Titans Robin because I don't know if Batman gave him a super soldier serum, but that kid is lethal. Like that version of Robin kills everyone here. Except maybe Bucky. Bucky's probably like, all right, you work with me now.
Whatever happened to Young Justice? I remember it had 2 seasons. It got canceled and got brought back for a 3rd season.
Yeah, and they should have never.
Terrible.
If they were going to bring it back the way they brought it back, they never should have done it. To say it went woke is an understatement, and I try not to use that word anymore because it's so played out. But yeah, it just went so far. It's unwatchable, and it was my favorite fucking show. It was so good.
Season 1 and 2, I would say, are legitimately like damn near perfect. The way that they nail all of the beats, like the characters really grow and develop in a way that you wouldn't expect them to be able to do so in such an expeditious fashion with the time that they have and with how big the team is and how many new things are happening and people are being brought onto screen. But they nail every single second of it. And then season 3 starts and you're like, who are these characters? You're not even the same person I remember you being. And I've watched you for years. It was awful. It was a genuine travesty.
And what really upset me about 3, I think it was 3, was it was based on one of my favorite comic runs of all time, which is Batman and the Outsiders. and they just fucking failed at every turn. I mean, and that it's the season after that where it really falls off a cliff, but that was the last one I watched, and I only watched it because it was that storyline. I wanted to see how they did. It had a couple decent episodes, but for the most part it was all shit. And then when the new ones came out, and you just can't go forward.
Damn, it's so crazy because like DC fans will clamor and beg and shit, and then Warner Brothers will do their best job to give them a pile of shit. It's so weird because remember in the AT&T time period, where the Snyder fans were campaigning for the release of Snyder Cut, and then the only reason why Zack got it was because there was a guy there that saw the outcry of it, because apparently they just didn't pay attention or care, and he just greenlit a $70 million budget to him to finish it, because all he needed to do was essentially just finish like the special effects and the post-production. A random guy in AT&T just saw it and just, you can get $70 million to finish your bullshit. Why is their company still around? That's retarded. That means he only got the cut by dumb luck. He only got it just because a guy was like, yeah, fuck yeah. There's some outcry on Twitter. We must give the fans what they want.
And then he went on to make Rebel Moon, the greatest movie that should have never graced cinema.
Before that, remember, he made Army of the Dead.
Dead,
one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my
I
entire life.
I memory hold that.
I did too, till I talk about it, because I know it's trash.
Honestly, memory holding Dave Bautista fighting zombies like an autist is definitely the way to play it.
Yeah, God, man. I love on a zombie movie, they can easily go and get what they need and then leave, but they chose to go back and save bullshit people that they barely. Oh, so stupid. I fucking hate Zack Snyder. I hate that guy so much. He's
look, in all fairness,
hack.
And they were supposed to be ruthless criminals too, but they had.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
In all fairness, for Rebel Moon, I've never seen grain harvested in slow motion before. So I gotta give him that. Just gave me something I've never seen before.
This is the wheat and this is the chaff. It's like,
well, what was this? See, the guy's whole big thing was like Warner Brothers. And he's the only director where I would ever say I'm glad the studio fucks him over, because he's the actual idiot. Like
Can we agree his really good movie was Watchmen?
Yeah,
I never seen it. I've only seen the
300 is a fun movie. I wouldn't say it's like good specifically, but I fucking enjoy it so much.
Yeah,
I've seen Watchmen
okay,
up the part where it's the guy Rorschach is in jail and he's like, "You're not stuck in here with me. You're stuck in here with like all that." That
so
one, yeah,
good.
yeah, man.
And Dawn of the Dead was all right, the original.
But James Gunn
wrote that. Was his first. Yeah, and that was his first film, and I think he had a lot of help.
Scott Snyder? No, Scott Snyder. Give me Scott Snyder. That's the better of the Snyder bros. That's the true bros right there. Like that guy was like, Warner Brothers, they stopped me from releasing a 3-hour movie in the theaters. No, there's a reason why. He's so stupid. Even we know this. There's a reason why movies are 2 hours. There's a specific reason why. Or the length of it was like 2 hours and 30 minutes because of show times and a bunch of other shit, right? He was like, man, they cut down my movie. Then goes to Netflix and then releases a theatrical version for his movies. But I thought the reason why you didn't like Warner Brothers was because they made you release a theatrical cut of your movie.
The reason for that, I think, is so that they can release a theatrical version first.
Yes.
Everybody and what they were banking on was, oh, this is so great, bro. Did you see that movie, bro? Yeah, Rebel Moon, bro. Oh, extended cut. Yeah, it's like the Snyderverse, bro. Let's watch it. It's like, and it didn't happen.
I did think the
that's what
director's
they're
cut
counting on.
I did think the director's cut was better, but that's like saying that a formed turd is better than a soft turd. I mean,
right?
It was still a turd. There was no other way around it.
Such a
Wait, look, this one has more corn in it.
Yeah.
Like, see, the point of him going to Netflix was so he gets to fully flesh out his true creative vision. They weren't shitting on directors' visions. But then why did he let Netflix release a theatrical cut? The point of him going there was to get a full-length version of the movie, uncut and unedited. And then they apparently canceled his deal anyway, because there's no more Army of the whatever movies or no more Rebel Moon movies. Apparently that's not going to happen anymore. That was supposed to be Netflix's Star Wars franchise. Remember that? Yep. Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Which
was I don't know. It might have been better than anything Star Wars has brought out lately. So
that's the thing I've heard. Everybody says it's still better than Disney Star Wars. And while I haven't watched it because I have no interest, yeah.
He even had Mags Visaggio write him a prequel comic. And then Zack Snyder didn't even bother tagging that Looney Tune in his post, so people go follow that weirdo. I'm not shitting. He didn't even tag him. Max had to say I was working with Zack Snyder.
Yeah, Zack's got a bit of an ego. I would argue the G&G kerfuffle really ended up showing that.
Oh yeah, that one. Fuck that guy. Hey, they raised all this money for him, but it came from a hate group. Remember back in the day, they were called the hate group, but no one says that anymore.
Yeah.
He took
the
all that
fandom
money
menace
from
to the hate group to online right-wing trolls to
Yeah. I wonder what the next one's gonna be. It was a hate group, right-wing trolls. Fuck. Next one's gonna be weird. But
all of those narratives funded by literal organizations that were funded by the U.S. government that were pushing Gamergate, which started with like going after Sargon of Akkad because Anita Sarkeesian was like sleeping with people in the industry, and then basically propelling feminist frequency, and then also Zoe Quinn was sleeping with game devs to get better reviews, and those devs just happened to be, or those reviewers just so happened to be funded by outlets that were paid by the U.S. government.
Are you sure that they weren't sleeping with Corn Bush? If you know, you know. Just saying. But yeah, man, when he was on the stream and he was just like, I don't want to be a part of this. You're a hate group. People just, they like that. What's crazy is they actually legitimately like his movies, and they raised this money for his charity. I'm like,
I watched this shit happen live, man. And
I did too.
He was just like, first thing I want to say is we're not associated with Geeks and Gamers in any way, and also I want to denounce Asian hate in all its forms. So basically conflating Geeks and Gamers to the Asian hate thing.
And then
that's before they had all the details about that Asian hate, wasn't it?
Oh, do you remember that cocksucker?
Let's not talk about statistics.
There was this cocksucker he had on called remember that Scottish guy called Film Gob, who was like his biggest fan, came on and started batting for him. I'm like, oh my, Tyrone Magnus is there listening to this going, what does this guy talk? Tyrone Magnus likes his movies. He likes BVS. Sitting there and listening to this guy. Like, what's crazy is, you know, the GG group, they liked his movie. Some of them actually liked his movies.
Epic Mike still does. Quite a few of them do.
And then,
I think Quarter Black Garrett, I think, is a supporter. I don't hate them. I think I
know
like
Jeremy
the
didn't
cast
like Man
better
of Steel
than the
at
actual
BVS.
movies.
I always like his cast better than his movies.
Yeah, if we could have just kept the three of them, or at least just two.
He was not cooking with Ezra Miller being cast. That's just all it's going to be in hell.
Gal Gadot could easily be replaced as well, because bless her, she's just not a great actress.
Replace her with
she looked more like Wonder Woman than I thought she was capable of. Yeah.
Replace her with that other big titty bitch, Salma Hayek. Replace her with her. Just please. I need to see her.
She still looks 26, it'll work.
Yep.
Yeah. You know who would have been, and I'm not saying this out of like, oh, you know, you're just a simp for Gina Carano, but go back and look at Gina Carano when she was in her prime. She looks really like she looks like Wonder Woman. She looks like Diana right from the comic book.
She does.
The facial expressions, the sideways smiles.
She has the jaw structure too. When she's like sitting there at the side, she has the cut with like how Wonder Woman's jaw.
It's uncanny, man. It's one of those rare where the person looks like the artist interpretation.
Yeah,
like the really, 90s Wonder Woman, where she was drawn really well. That looks like she looked just like her. It's crazy.
Man, Gina Carano, those pictures you mentioned them. I accidentally saw them on Facebook when she was still in her prime. Man, does she look very good? But oh my god, holy hell! I think the problem with her, nothing against her.
She can get it back too.
Oh shit!
Yeah, all she has to do is walk 10,000 steps a day, and she's killing it.
That Sunday episode she had with Ben Shapiro, I think her problem was that she's not someone that I take that is very understanding of internet culture. So I feel like when she made her post, she didn't realize just how many stupid people are on the internet that'll just take everything as seriously as possible. That's how she comes off. Like someone that's like, you have those friends that are like, okay, they know what the internet is. They kind of have a social media, but then it's just not really on it. That's the kind of woman she is. She doesn't feel like she's on social media very much. She feels like she's just in the real world.
She's a fighter.
She's,
like, that's who
she's cool. She's not a fucking dork.
She's like, I went on the internet and I said these things and they're all mad at me. And it's like, well, yeah, that's just kind of how it works.
Well, the fact that it all started from put your pronouns in your bio. No, I'd rather not.
Do it. I remember when the tweet happened when she put beat. I was laughing so hard. That was so funny. Holy shit, that's a throwback. Or when she said that,
boy, did her Oh, her meme post, the one that was abhorrent according to Disney, that thing aged perfectly. Because it's
Auschwitz
all
one.
true.
Yeah.
The government turns neighbors against neighbors, and that's how political violence like that starts.
But apparently that's politically divisive. Apparently,
yeah, that's politically divisive, and that's
anti-Semitic
a problem
somehow.
from the administration.
Yeah. Or what's the third one where she said that they were trying to keep her still, where she felt like she was trying to, like Disney was trying to keep her, but they wanted to put her through a inclusive
struggle
session. Struggle session, yeah.
It's a struggle session.
Remember now,
Yep.
We're told that doesn't exist. Gina Carano literally said the only way for her to keep her job when she thought she was going to get fired was to go through a struggle session and hear LGBTQ people tell her their stories, sob stories for hours. But apparently that doesn't exist. What the fuck? And she got fired publicly in front of us. She didn't even know she was being fired. I think in the back of her head she probably knew, but we found out she was fired. We found it on Twitter. What's happening with her case? I haven't heard anything about it recently. Is it going still?
I think it's still moving forward slowly, but it's moving forward.
Yeah, last I heard was that the judge ruled that Disney wouldn't have the case thrown out because they had petitioned for it to be thrown out. And last I heard is that it was ruled it was going to go forward. So we'll see what happens.
They offered to pay her off. They did. At some point, they probably did.
It doesn't matter, even if she
at this point.
Yeah, even if it goes in and they have discovery, she's already won. Even if the jury, it's in California, whatever, she loses, she still wins in public opinion because all that shit will be brought to light that we already knew anyway.
Which is what Disney doesn't want. They don't want this going to discovery, which they're fucked because now.
Do you remember the night? Remember the night there was this Hollywood reporter guy who blasted her, saying like, "Oh my God, all she had to do was just shut her mouth, and all she had to do was just accept what she was going to get, and then she would have had everything handed to her." Because I remember there was that black guy, he blocked me, that freaking ape. Because he was basically saying if she had just told the line and just accepted everything Disney was going to do for her, she would have been more successful. And it's like, you're off. What you just said is her to just toe the line and just basically just be a company.
Nice Nuremberg defense, bro. You should just follow orders.
Right. You're totally not proving her tweet right through that comment.
Yeah, dude, just follow orders. What's the problem?
Needless to say, after I called him an ape, he blocked me. Needless to say,
you were told to do thing and you didn't do thing. Don't you realize that makes you bad, man?
So you go against the government?
Ironically, all that stuff was probably the best thing to happen to her. I highly doubt the role in Mando was going to make her career take off.
Yeah, actually, it was.
Probably
Disney, because she was going to be the lead in a spin-off series.
Rangers of the New Republic. That was it. Yeah.
That was. I think it actually would have been the thing that jettisoned her. I can see why you would be like, no, she doesn't have like the star power specifically, but I don't think she needs to have the acting chops because she would have been able to fulfill that role in the sense of in the way that Gal Gadot could do the action hero structure of looking like a badass because she was an Israeli soldier. Gina Carano could actually do that as a leader, as someone who looked badass and could fill the role and had the charisma to do so, whether it was leading some Star Wars show, being Wonder Woman, or just being some random woman in an action role.
Yep.
Like there's so much
acting. Her acting chops are every bit as good, if not better, than Gal Gadot's.
I'd say 10x better. Gal Gadot puts me to sleep, and
I thought she acted better in Fast and Furious 6 because she was in Fast and Furious
10 out of 10.
Yep. Oh,
and
yeah,
she was
definitely.
acting. That's why I think it had to have been because I know for like some shows they have like different directors. I don't know on The Mandalorian season 2 if they had a different director for some episodes, but it felt like what's his name, Justin Lin, got more out of her than whoever was directing her in that Star Wars show because it felt like she wasn't even trying. Sometimes.
Well, you have seen Disney Star Wars before, right?
That's true.
See, so when they're saying that her career wouldn't have taken off. Maybe, she would have gotten the lead in the show, but it would have been a Disney Star Wars.
And look at how those shows panned out after Mandalorian season 2. Those shows did not get any better.
Yeah, dude.
A lot of it depended on how soon they capitalized off of that. Because I think they would have capitalized off of the Mandalorian season 2 right away. Because I think that was the idea that she was going to do the show. Like the show got killed off pretty quick, but it was supposed to be pretty soon after Mandalorian season 2, and that was when they actually had some of the goodwill back from fans. So
and they kind of to like what well, I was just wanting to address that. See, here's the thing, because firing Gina Carano, like you were saying, Bob, it killed all the goodwill that they had regained. They were bringing people back, at least at small amounts. That all went away. So yeah, she would have been just another inside star with her own show and all that, but she still would have had a lot more consistent work than she's getting now, which she
Agreed.
has to rely on these independent projects. She's definitely more popular now by losing Star Wars, but she's definitely not more, professionally successful.
Yeah.
All right. We had a great conversation tonight. We're going to do outros in a little bit here. You guys on the East Coast, you guys got to get out of here soon and, have sex with your wives or girlfriends. And I'm going to, have sex on my couch, honestly. So,
Bros, JD Vance.
Hey, I'm pro white, not pro black.
Nice.
Because I'm one of
God,
you guys.
fuck, I said nice.
Yes, I got him. Finally,
So
I can be one of
cooked.
I can be one of you guys now. You can accept me. Now,
quick, someone send me a fucking pass on Amazon so I can get out of this.
Oh gosh. All right, we'll start with our guests. Poperoni news. What you got planned coming up, man? Or are you just gonna be just chilling for a little bit?
Same as usual. I mean, I plan to just jump back into making news content and stuff, and I want to start doing fitness stuff, but realistically, that's just not my play for now. But in the end, I'm just gonna be doing the same thing, just cover news and all that jazz as per usual.
Awesome. All right, Bob, what you got planned coming up, man?
Maybe Snow White. We'll see. So hopefully, maybe do a review on that later this week, unless something else comes out to save me from that, because otherwise I'm gonna bite the bullet on that one. But yeah, go check me out over on my channel at Bob Loves Movies. Also, check out my secondary channel, Dad's Turn to Talk. Same thing, all one word. We have some fun over there. We usually film Wednesday nights, have that out on Thursday. So
Hell yeah. And when you have a show called Dad's Turn to Talk, that doesn't include me, right? Because I'm not a dad technically, but
we have people on there that aren't dads. So I mean,
what is it my turn to talk about being a dad?
No, the basic idea again is just an opportunity for three dads to talk about whatever the things we want to talk about. And so we try to have guests and stuff. So we've had some fun ones on there.
Hell yeah. Also keep in mind, I can't see myself in that show. I'm not a dad. Well, we still have it to this day. People, I can't watch a movie unless I see myself in it. Yeah, that's not narcissistic at all. What the fuck? Oh god, I hate people.
Am I supposed to avoid 12 Years a Slave now or something? I thought that movie was a banger.
I did too. I thought they deserved it, honestly. Hypothetically speaking, in Minecraft, allegedly. Said by a guy named MSK on YouTube. That's a hot, rich
forever and ever. And we got to be here for it, folks. Yeah.
Yay. But Iron, what you got planned coming up besides giving me all your paycheck?
Okay, yeah, there's that always. Let's see, got 2 shows a week now. The weekly Rogues Gallery has been moved to Wednesday, so we'll be on this Wednesday at 5:35 p.m. PST. Our guest Wednesday will be Mike Harlow, so that's going to be a wild conversation. Then we'll be back Friday for the weekend Rogues Gallery at the same time as usual, 5:35 p.m. PST, with our guest Lady Allie. She is a horror writer holding a current contest for short stories horror submissions with Von Coleman. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then you can catch me on some other shows like yours. I'm occasionally on Insert Title Here. I'm occasionally on Touch Grass with Theo Snodgrass. So go subscribe to everybody's channel. Make sure you're subscribed to this one as well. And that's about it.
Yeah. As you guys know, for me, I am just working on putting out content more consistently. That's essentially it. We essentially have shows every single day. I know how to better schedule these shows now from back in the day where I just completely just fried my brain, which is fine. But my brain's always kind of fried. It's like a chicken on a rotisserie. It's going consistently every hour and it's burnt. It's black, completely burnt. You bite that, your teeth will fall out, honestly. So later on tonight, I might stream League, maybe, give or take, when I finish my videos. And after that, tomorrow I have the show with Last Comic Fan. We're going to do a comic book review on Absolute Batman number 5. We're going to wrap up that arc. And then after that, I have a one-on-one with Mugen Lord, who is another white black man who ended up getting out his first indie comic book, actually. Venus Orion Comics is his company. The Vampire Killers is his first book, if I remember. Then on Wednesday, we have our comic book Hot Takes MSK show episode. That's going to start at 6 p.m. PST, 1 take for each person. And after that, we'll have the panel show, hopefully with Gray. The only reason why Gray's not here tonight is because You know how Gray told us that he had like some house issues? Well, apparently those got even worse. So that's the reason why he's not here. So he might be here on Wednesday. Hopefully, I hope he has all of his house issues sorted out and fixed by then. But if you don't have that panel show on Wednesday, we would at least have the show before that anyway to cover it anyway. Thursday, what are we doing? Cloud9 podcast episode with me and Shaz, and then have the show with me and Lushbox Warren. We're going to be reviewing Ultimate Wolverine issue #1, and we'll cover a topic. And then Friday, panel show with me, Laps, and Warren. We're going to review Absolute Wonder Woman #3. And on Saturday, hopefully, if work doesn't completely fist me and dig all my shit out, we'll have a show on Saturday. Full Diddy with that one. Literally got cleaned out completely. I got no golden nuggets anymore. I'm just dead at that point, you know? But then again, did Poperoni do a good job tonight being the DEI white guy we hire now, you know?
I'll take that role.
So if we, hypothetically speaking, if we take down that map you have behind you, would that lead to a secret cave?
Yep. And then you go down and it's a tunnel that people were talking about in 2024 in New York.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for taking care of a mentally ill man today. You all did very well. Wow.
I agree. They did a fantastic job taking care of me.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I had sex with a girl and gonna probably finish banging her out later on tonight. So yeah, thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show. Have a good night.